Welcome in to Take Flight. It's been a minute. It's been a long minute. We haven't done a show in quite some time. Ervin Doman here still. We got Christopher Theme over
What's
to my
up?
left, and we got Connor Luby sitting in front of me today.
Yep, I gotta sit over here today.
All right. So a lot we could really talk about. I think it's right that we talk about Hawk sports first.
Oh
So
yeah.
let's dig into the three that one just ended, and we have two that are still going to continue. So let's talk about softball that just ended. Their season ended with a loss to Ellsworth, but maybe we could just give an overall recap of what their season looked like from start to finish and everything that happened. So I'll let Connor kind of take it away and dig into that a little bit.
I'll dig away, but just kind of thinking about what I've had in my mind, I'll look back on certain games in particular. But I remember early in the or throughout the season, it was kind of a back and forth. Just they were sitting at 500 all year long. It felt like they would get a couple series wins in a row, then drop a series here and there, and then when they started conference play, it was hard for them. But it took a while. Then they started getting some momentum rolling. I'll look into some games in particular, but I think that's how their season went. It was pretty. I mean, looking back to the other seasons here for softball, that this probably got to be one of their best seasons that they've had in the program.
Yeah, when you compare it, also there was a stretch in their schedule that just had a lot of cancellations, and it was just like, how can they ever get the momentum, the ball rolling if it's just you play 2 games and you're supposed to have another 6 games, but there's a 6 game stretch that got canceled. So I don't know. You've played sports in your life. How
I
how would
I
that
have.
affect your mentality going into something where you just like get hyped up for like a long stretch of games you got coming up just to find out whether or whatever caused the cancellations just ruin that?
I would be upset if that happened. You get hyped up for a game, like you said, and you're all jacked up. Your testosterone's going and everything, and you're like getting prepared, and then you find out on like Twitter or from your coach that game canceled or meets canceled or anything like that. It's just like a confidence. Like your confidence declines. Like even if it gets like rescheduled, your confidence just like declines, and then you're like, oh, what if we lose? And in the game, like before it got canceled, you were like, oh, we're gonna win and everything like that. So your confidence just goes down.
Yeah, so it's a mental thing. It's kind of hard, but yeah, like Connor said, it was just kind of 500 back and forth, and you wonder. It's almost like we'll get. I'll let you talk about the season in a minute, but I almost think if you remember, Scott Frost's first game at Nebraska was supposed to play against Akron, a home game against Akron. It got rained out.
Yep.
And I, to this day, I mean, I can't prove it. We can't go back in time. But I think if that game gets played, the whole script of how Nebraska football has played out in the past 4 years would be so different. But I think everything was so hyped up, and then everyone was in the stadium ready to go. And it was just I mean, there was a kickoff where they kicked it off, and then lightning hit, and it was nothing. And it just felt so anticlimactic. And then it just never, like, everything during that season just didn't seem to fall in place the way you would have wished. And I think if we would have played that first game against Akron, one, had a little momentum going into the second, then the
Yep.
third, then the fourth, it would have helped. And I think I mean, we can make the comparison between that game getting canceled. I guess it got postponed. It got played later on in the. Actually, we made it up against.
McCook or
Mc- Uh,
um
oh gosh, they were a maroon team.
oh, I wanted to say like oh, Bethune Cookman.
Bethune Cookman.
There we
Thank you.
Yep.
are.
There it is.
We made up the game against Bethune Cookman. Thank you very much. But they maroon, white, silver team, whatever. So that's my take on it. Is I think that affects Husker football in the same way that affected softball not being able to get the things rolling. The difference is one was in the start of the season, and these 6, 7 cancellations were in the middle of the season. So I'll let you kind of take it away.
Yeah, the overview of the season, they finished with an overall record of 24-28, 400 or 0.46 win percentage on the year, so just a bit below 500 to end it. 7-17 in the conference with a conference sweep in there as well. So first time the school is able to get that one done. 200% or 300 percentage there for the conference. And some of the big games I look at when I'm scrolling down the schedule, game against North Platte Community College where they hit a walk off to get that one going. That was right before the stretch where the games all got postponed. But early on, they had like 500 through the non-conference, and then they play a lot more non-conference throughout the season than baseball did. So those games against Central and all the JV schools. Some of the stretches that really hurt was they had the stretch where they played Lakes, DMAC, and then they had Ellsworth right afterwards. But then there was or Iowa Western a series before that, so that kind of set them behind the 8 ball. But they got those wins over Ellsworth, Nyack in the deep part of the season, but the tournament ended up with a 6-4 loss to Iowa Lakes and a 11-4 loss in the second game that they played in the tournament to Ellsworth.
Yeah. So overall, I mean, it was about an average season. You got
Mhm.
some ups, some downs, but it's one of their better seasons in recent memory. I think we can all attest to that. So softball wrapped up, and I think we'll move on. Unless you guys have any other thoughts you want to mention about softball before we transition to the next Huck sport.
Nah.
Nope.
All right, let's go golf. Let's do golf next. So the golf team has been sneakily really good. And then
Yeah.
over the past month, we've just kind of been keeping our eye on it. Connor and I went and covered their invitational here at the Norfolk Country Club, got interviews with players, watched some golf. I mean, it was a little windy that day, so it wasn't the best golf of their lives, but we got a chance to actually see it in person and hear their thoughts about their performances throughout the year. And they were ranked 10th
Yeah.
at one point, and now after some great golf in Iowa, gosh, what was it? Morova?
I think it's something similar to that, but
Yeah.
I think it's Indian Hills home course. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So they played great golf over there. Ty Himes, a fantastic putt. You could see it on the Northeast Athletics,
Everywhere.
pages. You can see it everywhere if you just
Yeah.
go look for it. Had a great putt to sink it in on a playoff to take standalone first place in that tournament. Overall, golf team killed it. There was a little celebration yesterday in Union 73, cake, ice cream. The golf team was there
Food.
to send them off. Yeah, to send them off to nationals in Joplin, Missouri. So, Chris, what were your thoughts on the golf team before I get to Connor?
I thought they did amazing. I didn't really see anything from the golf team, so I really don't know. I'm not much of a golfer, but from what I did see there, they had an incredible season and super proud of the boys for, coming out and just kicking butt like they've done. And so overall incredible season from them.
Yeah, big time season for golf. I know they've had a couple players in the past that have gone on to go to different colleges, and I think a big group of guys here in this team are going to go on to the future. Ty Himes is just he'll step up when he needs to. He's had incredible seasons throughout the year, and now he's going to earn it. He's got to go head down to nationals. I think the other two players that he competed in that playoff are going down there with him, and the Kirkwood players, but. I based on what we've seen all year long, he's been able to stay every time you look at the rankings, he's always top 5, always at the top of every single tournament that he's participating in. So he's probably gonna have some great success when he heads down to Joplin.
Yeah, I would assume so. He's a very talented golfer. He earned first team All Region honors and then honorable mention for All Region Cody Sander and Santiago Valdez. And when I talked to all the players, I mean, we talked to a handful of them at the Norfolk Country Club. Santiago was he had quite a personality on him. I thought he was funny. I mean, we'll just tell a quick little story. So I interviewed him as they walked off to get their final scorecard in or whatever, and Santiago comes up to me and he's got an accent because I guess I don't
He's
know
from Mexico City.
from Mexico City, and he looks at me. He's like, "Can I curse?" And I'm just like, yeah, we can edit and post. It was like a mug that we saw at the
Yeah.
NAB show in Vegas. It's like, we'll worry about that in post.
Yeah.
It's printed on the little mug, and I thought that was funny because that describes kind of our lives. Is like, oh, something doesn't look right. Just worry about
Fix it.
that.
We'll fix it later.
Yeah, he knew how to put a little smile on our face after a little bit of a rough day of golf. Because when I asked him how his day was, he's just like, bad.
It was not good.
It was bad. But hey, the team, and he must have had a great year overall to earn honorable mention for All Region. But the team overall played fantastic, and congratulations to them for making it this far.
They've had some crazy tournaments too. They're out in Nevada, out in Las Vegas for a couple tournaments throughout the year, and then they've had to hit some major ones against major schools during the fall and during the spring. So all props to this team. They've been killing it.
Absolutely. And just a reminder, if you want to check out those golf interviews and what we kind of produced for there, it was like a 33-minute video. It's on our Northeast Broadcasting YouTube page, put together up there. You can view it if you want. But yeah, any closing thoughts on golf before we get to baseball?
Nope.
Killing the game out there,
Yeah,
swinging the
just killing
club,
it.
getting the balls in the hole, in the cup.
In the cup. And congratulations and best of luck in Joplin, Missouri. And let's talk baseball. Baseball is going to have quite a doozy on their hand with DMAC coming up, and that whole kind of layout of their potential schedule if they win in advance it's pretty tough. I'll let Connor kind of give the rundown of that because he's going to have that pulled up on his phone there.
And we got the Region 11 Division 2 tournament going on. So the two teams that get buys, surprisingly, Nyack snuck in at the number 2 team, which, I mean, we were talking about it all during that last home game. The parity in this conference is unbelievable. They kind of came out of nowhere to get the number 2. But Kirkwood was probably the best team out of all of them. They were able to get that sweep over top of us when we went on the road to play them. They're the number 1 seed. We have to play the number 6 seed DMAC. When we go, if we advance, we have to play Nyax, which we beat them once. They're the last series that we had to play when we played them on the road. So we know we can get them done. We know what it takes to beat them. So Northeast is looking pretty solid. And I think it's pretty good because they had troubles with Kirkwood. They had troubles with Southeastern, and they had kind of troubles with Iowa Central, and they're all on the top of the bracket. And we've gotten victories over Nyack and DMAC. So I'm pretty confident that we're on the bottom. We could make a deep run.
So we just kind of position ourselves in the perfect place in
Number
the bracket
3, baby,
to play some people that we have a pretty good outlook against versus being in the top against those people in the top portion of the bracket. And Chris, you watched some baseball this year. You
Yes.
were on some broadcasts, some games. What were your overall thoughts on the team? Before we get to that,
Well,
38 wins on the season, which
yes.
is an all-time school record in their 5 seasons. So
Yes. Yep.
obviously played really well, but just your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I thought they played incredibly well. This team has a whole bunch of personality. We've heard them a bunch in the Cox Activity Center when they're working out and stuff. They have so much personality, and their team chemistry is off the charts. And I think this team could make a deep run in this tournament. So if they do, props to them. If they don't, then they got those schools got the best of us. That game.
You're in a really good conference right now, and then once you head off into the district tournament, that's where they might have a little bit more challenge because you're going to have to go against Enid. You're going to have to go against the other Midwestern schools around here. You don't have just the Iowa schools, so
Yep.
they just got to be watching over that because they're just schools I haven't played a whole lot this year. But I think a couple of the schools in the non-conference, when they get the districts, if they get the districts, I mean they got a easy path to get their way there.
Yeah, you talk about Enid, and I'll mention again. I probably have mentioned it before, but did a package on the baseball team. I talked with Coach Clapp and Sam Manwarren about the team and their goals, and just about a bunch of stuff, really. And that's also on the Northeast Broadcasting YouTube page if you want to check that out. But their goal is to start in Enid and end in Enid. So it's like, eventually you got to work your way there through this and then get to, like you said, district. But it's just kind of like they have had a successful season. And I asked Coach Clapp, what defines a successful season for you? And that was kind of his statement, is that's what the goal is. But to say that, what they've done throughout this year, even if they didn't make it, wouldn't mean anything. It would be just a travesty. It'd be a lie.
They broke records this year. They got school records in wins. They were top 10 nationally all year long when it came to hitting stats. This team's unbelievable when they can get it done wherever it is on with the stick. They can send it out left, they send it out right, they send it wherever, and they get runs across, and they won't stop putting runs up on you. That's what this team's big specialty is. They'll put up as many runs as they want to, and they could care less what you think about it.
Yeah, and the area where they struggled throughout the year is pitching, which was kind of interesting because that's kind of where I thought the strong point was. Because coming into the year, that's where we had
two commits already
to go large with Dreyer and Tenney. So it was kind of like, I thought that would be the strong point, but it kind of fell off, and there were some injuries there that kind of caused that. But hopefully they kind of pick up a little bit here towards the end. But Chris talked about personality on this team, and I noticed it. I mean, I've noticed it throughout the year, obviously, but when we did the bigger broadcast with NCN and everything was kind of blown up to proportion, we had more cameras on players, more cameras everywhere. And I was in the truck, so I could even see what wasn't on the screen, like on live. And I was like, like every time someone came across the plate after hitting a home run, they're just gritty and they're having fun. They're just they're being themselves. And that's kind of the best thing about this team is it just seems like they all get along so well. And, there's some teams that you'll see, whether professionally, collegiately, high school, where it's just like the chemistry is not there. No one's really enjoying themselves. They're playing the sport they like, but they're just not having fun. And that was never the case with this team.
Yeah, you can always see, and those are the teams that are going to click, even though they might not be the top performers all the time. Those are the teams that are going to find success because they all want to work together. They all want to find that common goal together. They're all trying to do it as a team instead of sometimes it's splintered off when some people have other ideas on how the team should be played or what should happen or how other people should take the approach to it. So this team is just they found it right away, and I think they've had that for the last couple of years because there's been a lot. This team's been built up throughout these last 2, 3, even 4 years.
Absolutely. And congratulations on a great season, record breaking season, and best of luck to them as they carry on throughout the tournament here. Any closing thoughts before we move on?
I
I'll
don't
take
think
that
so.
as a no.
Yeah.
The silence speaks for itself. And we'll move on to some NBA. We'll end the Hawk sports there. And we'll talk some NBA. A lot's going on with the playoffs, Eastern and Western Conference semifinals going on right now. We'll talk about the games last night. The Celtics even up the series 2-2 against the Bucks after they win. Overall thoughts on that game, Chris? Did you catch any of it? Did you see the score? I know I'll let you talk about it for a little bit.
I didn't get to catch the game, but from what I saw, it really I don't even know. I didn't see anything from that game, but the Celtics, they're coming out of nowhere from these playoffs and they're performing very well. And so I don't know. I don't know if they can beat the Bucks. I have no idea.
I mean, if there's going to be a team to do it, it's going to be the Celtics. I
Yeah.
knew heading into heading into the playoffs, they would probably be the strongest there because defense always means so much in the playoffs. And these Celtics teams, they know how to lock it down on D. They
Mhm.
won't. They make everything so difficult out there. Um, they have a real good possibility of doing it right now. The series, like you said, is split 2-2. So especially with that win last night, I think it was pretty strong. I was just kind of going in and out of the dorms and people are just having it on the TV out there. So I just kept checking in on it. And so they held control of that game the whole way through.
I mean, this series has just been so interesting because game one, it looked like the Bucks were clearly the better team, and you can't judge just based off of one game. And then, game two, it looked like the Celtics kicked the doors in on the Bucks. It was like, okay, hold on, wait a minute. And then game three was close. I watched that one on Saturday. It was like evening, kind of, not quite, but the final was 103-101, and man, the Marcus Smart was at the line. He got fouled on a 3-pointer, made oh gosh, what did he do? I don't know. He intentionally missed his last free throw to try and get the rebound and put it up because there was only like 4 seconds left,
Yep.
and he missed it, and it missed well. Like they got the rebound, they put it up, missed, tap in, missed, tapped in again, and went in. But I mean, on the slow mo replay, the ball was directly on the hand, and then it's tapped in. I was like, oh, I mean, as much as I want the Bucks to win that series, because I'm a Lakers fan, so it'd be a mortal sin for me to root for the Celtics. So like, I want the Bucks to win, but I was kind of rooting for that thing to go to overtime because it was such a great game. And then this game last night, the Bucks were pretty much in the lead for the most part. And then I was at the Y shooting hoops last night, and it was obviously not on my phone while shooting. And you sit down for a little break, and I take a peek at my phone. I'm like, oh, well, that changed. I think
Yeah.
the score was 110-102 or something with like a little over 3 minutes left or something like that. And I'm like, oh, well, crap. But the series has just been back and forth each game. You really have no clue, which is kind of the best thing about some of these games is like you don't really you can't predict what's going to happen.
Exactly.
I think the Bucks are the better team because Giannis is such a beast. He can really just dominate a game any facet if he wants. His shooting's a little lacking, but you can't attack him defensively. He's a monster. Offensively, he can run at the hoop and hold. We have a running joke. If you ever use Ben Simmons in 2K, you just run at the hoop and you hold X and the ball will go in. It's dumb. It's so dumb. But that's what Giannis can do in real life.
Yeah.
He just run at the hoop and put the ball in. He doesn't have to do anything else. Like
You ain't
James,
stopping it. You ain't stopping that guy when he's on full speed heading to the hoop.
Yeah.
he's one of the only big man that I've ever seen that is like, yeah, I'm gonna take this thing coast to coast on you, and you ain't gonna do nothing about it.
Exactly. There was a quote from James Harden like 2 years ago. He had some beef with Giannis, and it was like, "Gosh, I wish I was 7 foot and could just run and jump and dunk like and actually have no skill." And Giannis said, "You know what? I have skill. I'm gonna win a ring, and that's something you haven't done, James Harden.
yeah.
You can go sit at home." Well, actually, the 76ers are fighting pretty well, so we'll talk about that
They're doing
in a
well.
minute. But yeah, that Celtics Bucks series has been really interesting. That one could go 7, and that'd be fun to
Oh, yeah.
watch. But the other game last night was also a battle back and forth, and I thought the Grizz were going to beat the Warriors, but they lost by 3. And that one I didn't catch quite as much of, but I was kind of watching the score back and forth, and I thought the Grizz were going to take care of business, but they didn't. What are your thoughts on the series of the teams? I know maybe you didn't quite catch the game, but just
Yeah.
overall watching the teams throughout the year.
The Grizzlies, during their series with the who was it? Timberwolves?
Timberwolves, yep.
Yeah, Timberwolves. They came out, they were on fire. And I thought, Ja Morant and the Grizzlies could go all the way. And now with this Warriors team is so deep. They have so many shooters on the court. They can do anything they want to. And, it's just been a very chippy series with both teams, with Draymond, getting his texts and everything like that, being old Draymond like he's always been and everything like that. But this series has been good. I'm excited for both teams.
Shout out Jaren Jackson leading Memphis last night in points. Was not expecting that one to come out of nowhere. Ja didn't have a stellar night, which
Ja didn't play.
Oh, he didn't play at all. Yeah,
he had his knee tweaked by Jordan Poole, I think, grabbed his knee in game 3. And there's this whole kind of back and forth going on between breaking the code because Dylan Brooks whapped Gary Payton in the head, and it caused Gary to fall awkwardly and break his elbow. And it's just been this whole, and so Ja took to Twitter after game 3 and said broke the code because Steve Kerr accused the Dylan Brooks of the Grizzlies of breaking the code and injuring a player. And that's what Ja was kind of saying, hey, your player just grabbed my knee. If you pull at someone's knee hard enough, you're going to cause some damage. So yeah, Ja didn't play last night, but that's why it was so.
That slipped my mind. Yeah,
no, that's why it was so impressive. They only lost by 3, and they pretty much probably should have won that game without Ja. They are tenacious defensively, led by Trey J. Jaren Jackson Jr. from Michigan State. He's an absolute beast. He's so young. That team is so young.
Steven Adams, Dylan Brooks leading up that roster right now. Yeah, they're the type of team you want to, if you're a new fan to the NBA, you got to cheer for someone like this because it's a bunch of young guys trying to go after it, trying to prove themselves, and they're able to get to the semifinals so far. Not a whole lot of young teams. Whenever you see it, you always got to point it out because it's so hard to do when you have this young of a roster.
Yeah, I mean it's tough, and this Warriors team is experienced. They have some younger players like Kuminga that they drafted after they had that whole low year after Curry got hurt or whatever and really didn't play. But the experience on that team with Curry, Clay, Draymond, Iggy's on that bench still. So it's like they got a lot of championship DNA.
Almost all the same players that they've had during their run 4 years ago when they got their rings. So it's not like they're inexperienced. They're one of the more experienced teams heading into these playoffs. And so I knew once everyone got healthy on that roster, they were going to be a team that would go to the semifinals or finals, like at least get past the series and make a pretty deep run. And they've been able to prove themselves and leading the series 3-1 right now.
I mean, they have blown a 3-1 lead before, so I wouldn't put it past them now, but we'll say they blew the 3-1 lead to possibly the greatest NBA player of all time. I'll say possibly. But let's move on. We'll talk about the other 2 series really quick. They didn't play last night. They played tonight. And then we're going to give our predictions on what these series look like, and then we'll transition out of NBA stuff. So
Sixers Heat are the first game up. That series tied up 2-2. Heat are 2.5 point favorites over top of the Sixers, followed up by the Mavericks Suns series down in Phoenix. Phoenix is a 6-point favorites over top of the Mavericks, and you boy with your Luka jersey over there. Let's start off with that series since you got your jersey on.
Well, I'm just a big Luka guy. I love it's so weird because you watch him play and he's not the quickest. He's not the most athletic. He uses every movement to its maximum value. He has no wasted twitches, everything he does has a purpose.
Mhm.
And that's what I like. And we've had, I think it was Junior on here, and he talked about the way Marta plays basketball here in Northeast. She's got that, smoothness of that
All those
European style.
European players, baby, they all play that exact same way. They don't mess around over there.
Exactly. And Luca obviously does it at a much higher level, but it's the same concept of it just feels so smooth and it's almost unguardable. And you look at Luca and you're just like, how is he unguardable?
Mhm.
So someone explain this to me. And it's just amazing to watch. And gosh, when we were in Vegas, you were laying in your bed and I was watching one of the games. I think it was eating McDonald's. I don't know what I was eating. I was
Yeah,
eating some
you were
food.
eating McDonald's and you were close. You were close to it, and you were like, "Oh my God, come on!"
Luca hit
Oh.
2 back-to-back threes from far out in their first series
Yup.
against
Who was it?
You sent me the video. He was like, Luca.
I can't even remember who they played because they just the Jazz. They played
Yeah.
the Jazz.
Utah.
But yeah, some about him just is nuts. I mean, I love LeBron, so he'll probably be like my top guy to watch because LeBron just does it effortlessly. Even though I disagree with some other things, but just watching players that are very very good at the game and just do it in a different, unique way is fascinating. I think that this one goes 7. I think the only series that won't go 7 is that Memphis Warriors series.
Yeah, all of them knotted up right now, 2-2. And all the games so far have just been competitive all the way through. These series is going to go 7. These have been some great playoffs so far.
Yeah, I think each home team in this Mavericks series has won their games. So I would assume the Suns win tonight. Mavericks win Game 6. And then Game 7 is where it gets interesting. Throw home court out the window. I mean, it matters, but it's win or go home. Everyone's going to be just absolutely going for it. I'll take the Mavericks. I might be a little biased, but I'm going to take the Mavericks in the overall series. But tonight, I'm going to take the Suns, though.
Yeah, Suns are well like Booker, baby. He's been going out there killing it these playoffs so far. I don't know. The Suns have just been that ever since they've got their rise last couple of years. They've been an interesting team. Not a whole lot of teams just feel like the way they do. And yeah, I think the way you said it, where all the home teams are going to take advantage here throughout until Game 7. I think it's going to go that way, but I think the Suns are going to wrap that one up at home.
Yeah, I think the Suns got it.
Jeez, you guys hating on me? No, but I get it. Both teams are very
like
good.
Luka. I like Luka, but the Suns are just
the Suns are good. I mean, there's a reason they were in the
good.
finals last year. I mean, it makes sense.
They're
but
insane.
Sixers, Heat, baby. That series has been interesting so far. And the game last time they played, that was a barn burner.
I'll let one of you guys give your thoughts before I give mine.
Building up over here. He sounds like he's gonna explode.
I don't know.
Do you?
I don't like the Sixers. I absolutely positively hate the 76ers. So I like this Miami team. They're super good. They got Jimmy, they got Bam, they got Tyler. They have so many good weapons. I hate the Sixers.
Got Kyle Lowry over there on the Heat as well.
Kyle Lowry. I just don't like the Sixers, so I'm gonna go Miami.
Okay,
I dislike them.
My overall thoughts on the series is obviously the home team has won every game, but I think a big factor in that is because Joel Embiid didn't play the first 2 games. He comes back Game 3, they win Game 3 at home.
With the Phantom of the Opera mask going on.
I mean, you got to protect that orbital bone that he fractured. He took an elbow from Pascal Siakam, gave him a concussion, fractured his orbital bone, obviously, and he came back with the mask, and he's been playing great.
Masked up Joel.
The one thing I will say, I think talent-wise, it's really, really close. I like when you compare apples to apples, so their best player to best player, which would be probably Jimmy Butler and Joel Embiid. Obviously, they're different positions, but Joel Embiid is so dominant. So I'd give the player edge to the Sixers, especially if Harden can kind of get it going.
You think the team chemistry a little bit stronger for the Heat?
But I think coaching.
Okay.
When you look at the aspect of coaching, you look and you have Eric Spoelstra, who, it's so weird because I feel like he doesn't get not any recognition, but for as good of a coach as he is, he's won several rings, been to the finals many times, and it's like it just doesn't feel like he gets talked about nearly as much as like a Steve Kerr or some of these other guys.
Those Heat teams kind of get forgotten about sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think coaching pedigree will matter in this series. And when you look, Doc Rivers, he's fallen short plenty of times. And I'm just saying,
every time.
The curse. The curse of Doc.
I'm sorry. Doc is just, man. If it wasn't for he's just one of those coaches in every league. It feels like they get so close they can't make it, and it's like, man, I don't know. You just got to know it. He's like, if you have him as a coach, you know you're not going to make it to the finals. I'm sorry. He'll get you to the semifinals. He'll get you into the playoffs. He ain't going to get you all the way.
I mean, he's the only coach to ever blow several 3-1 leads in a playoff series. I don't have a firm pick on this. I will, as much as I'd rather have the Heat win, I'm going to take the Sixers in 7. But I do think if the Heat win, it won't be because of them being more talented. I think it'll be Doc got outcoached in Game 7.
They got outplayed.
Yeah,
outsmarted.
I think that would be the takeaway. Like when you look at the headlines of Game 7, if the Heat win, I'm sure some of their players are going to have great games. Like Jimmy Butler might put up 35 or something. But you're going to look at the game plan that came into the game and how adjustments were made, and you're going to look at how Eric Spoelstra coached circles around Doc Rivers. If we get to that point,
yeah. I mean, I want to I've been on the Philly bandwagon ever since my sisters went out there. She's got me kind of hyped up because I don't know. I care about the Nuggets, but they could be like to me right now. Like they're probably my team, but she's got me so hooked on all the Philly teams out there. I got to go with the 76ers.
So you've got the Heat.
Yes.
We both have the Sixers. I would prefer the Heat, but I think the Sixers will get it done. And let's go back to the series that we talked about first. Bucks, Celtics. Who you guys got?
Celtics.
I got Bucks in 7.
So I would like the
You
Bucks.
already gave our reasoning for it, but
yeah, we'll just kind of recap what we got.
Yeah, I like the Bucks, but I think Celtics got it.
And what do you guys think about Grizz Warriors?
Oh, Warriors.
In how many?
6.
Okay, I was going to say Warriors in 6 as well.
I dislike both teams because I'm a Nuggets fan, but just because of the pedigree of the Warriors, I got to go with the Warriors.
Got to throw them over. You only could talk about the East over there, can you?
Yeah, I can.
Screw the West, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Nuggets all the way.
All of these have been really great series. The playoffs have been fantastic. I love just when sports get into that into the playoff mode, and
it's
all
just good teams that are left. You're not going to see any stinkers.
It's not like the NFL Thursday night football schedule where they put up the 3-14 Jets versus the 3-14 Giants and watch it. I mean, I'll watch football any day of the week.
New York on Thursday, baby. No. How many times was the Jags scheduled on that? Like, was it a quarter of the game?
Yeah, let's watch the Jags and take on Davis Mill and the Texans on a primetime Thursday night game in week 11.
General Mills is just be cooking up down there. He's got all the cereals going on.
Yeah, so, I mean, I love it when you get all good teams, all competitive matchups. Even if some games are blowouts, the series overall is competitive. And I think we'll wrap up NBA there. I don't know what we're at for time, but I just want to talk about life for a little bit.
All right.
Boy. Life.
He's got reflecting modes on.
Well, it's the last show we're ever going to do here. And I mean, we graduate in 4 short days. So what do you guys think? What's going on in your
life
brains?
is crazy. I don't know. I'm stressed. I am overwhelmed. I got to move out of that place, move into your place. This has been rough, man. I want to get through this week, but I want to get to graduation right now. That's all that's been on my mind.
That's all that's been on my mind too. I've been stressed trying to figure out a bunch of crap going on in my life. So it's been stressful.
Yeah, I think it's a good stressful though. I mean, stress for the heart is never really good, but it's that certain level of uncertain anxiety where it's just what does life have for me? And and that was kind of the thing that when I was looking at different jobs or searching for jobs outside, when I get in the real world or whatever, I was just I'm anxious, I'm nervous, a little stressed, but it's it's optimism as well. It's it's a whole world of just possibility. And I think that's what we're entering into is, obviously life is life. It's going to be crazy. You're going to go different places. You're going to end up places you didn't expect, but it's just it's so crazy. You can just end up anywhere.
Choose your destiny, baby.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's, one day you might be making more money than Tom Brady's 10-year, $375 million contract.
That would be nuts.
Man, he's
I
gonna be in
wish.
football till he's 60, dude.
I'm not.
I'm gonna hear his voice I don't want to hear it. Wait, for a while I didn't have to hear his voice. Now I'm hearing it way too much. Go back to being Silent Tom on the Patriots.
Go back to the
Please.
Patriots and be a robot.
Yes,
Tom
I need that.
Brady. Hi.
Tom Brady does things. He gets
I
rings.
throw football.
I got to
Julian.
imagine if Tony Romo is so insightful about the game of football.
Oh, I'm
I
excited.
can't even imagine what
Oh,
Tom
yeah.
Brady could bring to a broadcast booth.
He's gonna be the next John Madden.
He's gonna be the next Tom Brady. Is how I'm gonna. There's gonna be no one like it.
I'm afraid he's gonna get up there and just be like one. I guess he's had enough experience filming stuff now with that documentary going on. I
Yeah.
feel like he'll be all right doing it. That was the one fear when I heard it. I was like, will Tom be ready to do something like that? But most times they're pretty trained up, pretty solid.
Yeah, Tom has so much knowledge with the game that he's gonna bring so much more to the casual fan than ever before.
And I could tell you, I mean, he's got a lot of money, so he could probably pay to come to a program. Let's just say a great broadcasting program at
Northeast
like
Community
Community College or something, and learn how to like talk in a mic like this and
Yeah,
talk about different things. And it's a pretty fantastic place, really.
Tom,
And-
shout out.
Become a hawk.
Become a Hawk. No
Brady,
longer
please.
a Wolverine, he's a Hawk. But I guess while we get ready to wrap this up for the final time, what just overall thoughts on everything that we've done throughout 2 years?
I'm impressed of what we've all been able to do here.
Literally.
We've been able to put together things that I didn't think I would be able to produce or produce as well as we were able to do. Bunch of our newscasts this year, our sports productions over the last couple of years. We've been able to put in tons and tons of work on all these live productions. It's been crazy.
Yeah, I
just
think
amazed.
we set the bar high for the next class to come in and do. I challenge them to do something that we've done this whole year, especially with the three of us. With our newscast, with sports, with everything. That'll be fun to see, and it all comes down to us, and it all comes down to Mr. Anderson. So it's been nuts.
Yeah, it has definitely been quite a ride. And when you look at last year, I mean, it felt just there was more hands on deck really, so it wasn't so just everything that on your plate type deal. So it didn't feel so much. But then we got to this year, and it was just like there's a
Oh my
lot
God.
more. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing at all, because it gives you more opportunity to learn, to do
Yep.
stuff, to troubleshoot. Troubleshooting was a fantastic thing. We talked about when we were in Grand Island for Skills USA. We were driving
That's
around.
probably one of the biggest moments I had. No one's ever going to see it. No one's ever going to
Exactly.
know about it until right now.
We talked about how our competition went, but we had been practicing for the competition. That's simple. Like, it's reading, it's switching. We've done that all the time, but we've never really troubleshooted our own TriCaster, because our TriCaster is set up the way it's supposed to be. And we sat there and we fidgeted with the
Yeah.
TriCaster that's sitting in
The
the
server room. Yeah.
and we is a loose term, but mainly you, Brian. I kind of helped a little bit, but we got it figured out. And that was the thing that you talked about. You're like, that's the thing I'm going to take away from this more than anything, was I was able to troubleshoot something without like freaking out, because you said sometimes you get frustrated in those situations.
It's hard sometimes. It's just like, come on, this is how it's supposed to be, or why isn't it being like this? And you have to go down every single rabbit hole.
Mhm.
It can drive you up a wall pretty easily, and most times troubleshooting does. But I'm dying over here. But
I can take it if you need.
nah, I'm all
Okay.
good. But
Please don't die.
Please don't die, good sir.
I won't die on y'all too far yet. My goodness.
Well,
I think my brain cells are gone.
English is hard,
Brain
man.
cells are gone.
That's
But
a hard language.
we just talked it out, and that's how you have to do it. You just got to think, why isn't this working? What's the next step down the line? And we killed it, man. We got a TriCaster to work, and when it wasn't working at all with the setup that we had ready to go.
Yeah, and so I look at something like that, or when we went to Husker Harvest Days and we
Oh my
we
God.
did stuff that was out there, or like the Home and Garden Show interviews. I mean, there's just several different things that we've done that are just like we always do sports productions. I mean, this is new.
Yep.
So they've done something like this in the past, but just a different setup. So this is newer. So this is something new we've done. We went on road games this year every now and then.
Oh my goodness,
That
those were
was fun.
so much fun. That game that we covered out in Iowa Western is probably got to be one of my favorites part of this year, hands down.
I mean,
going out to that facility and just seeing them, what it looks like throughout the conference or as well in the area, what other teams, what they have.
Yeah, and other than the whole actually going there and seeing it, it's just about the learning experience of, that was the first time I guess we ever really tried social media like aspect of stuff. And I think the video of Ashley Hassett's layup got 9,000 views on
Still
our.
keep going up,
Like
baby.
I mean, I don't know what it's at now. I mean, we could look at it, but it's just like we're trying new things, doing different things, and Husker Harvest wasn't new by any means, but they didn't do it the year before because COVID. So, it was just kind of getting reacclimated, I guess. And those were the things that I kind of appreciated about this year is, obviously, we went to Vegas. That was fun.
Shout out
And
Vegas. Shout out Vegas.
And the other class didn't get to do that, but they also missed out on some opportunities to go to a Husker Harvest Day their sophomore year or to do this or to do that. It's just like unfortunate, but it was nice. It was a good feel for us to kind of get the program back to a little bit of, normalcy. But, that's kind of how it felt is everything was just kind of falling back into place and then implementing new things. We got new graphics on the new show. Like we did new weather graphics, we got a new stock graphic.
Yep.
I mean, it's all just been quite a ride, I guess.
Yeah,
it's 100%. Yeah.
It's been fun.
So, any closing thoughts before we shut her down one last time?
Man,
I'm gonna miss y'all.
Yeah, shout out.
Gotta keep in touch with you guys. You can't lose y'all too while y'all go everywhere else. You're going up to Minnesota,
Yes,
and you're going up to Iowa, and I'm staying put right here. I gotta.
Yeah,
y'all are amazing.
It's gonna be a nuts ride. I'm excited for all three of us to go out and do our thing, and hopefully someday we see each other again, and maybe somebody will be our boss.
What?
Maybe one of us will be the boss.
Maybe when Lance gets out of college and we build up some capital, we'll put together that whole production that we were talking about when we took that spring break over in Burwell. I don't even know what we called it, but I can't say it because we don't want to give the idea away. We had a whole discussion about starting our own little thing, but I guess we'll see what the future holds. It's been fantastic being here. It's been fantastic producing the show, talking about sports. It's ultimately the goal for my life. I know that some of us have different. You want to direct a little more, but that's kind of where you want to go with it as well. So
sports and everything like that. It'll be fun.
Big sports, baby.
What?
Yeah. So I think that is all she wrote. And for the final time, this has been Take Flight.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah.